Now at 5, why a southeast Kansas community says home sales remain strong. Plus, some local electrical workers are headed to Florida to help people recover after Hurricane Ian hits. And
President Biden plans to bring down health care costs for seniors. I'm Skyler Henry at the White House with a look at the numbers and how Republicans are pushing back.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
a local realtor says home sales remain strong despite rising interest rates. This is KOAM News at 5. A broker for real estate in Columbus, Kansas says interest rates have gone up, but the city is still busy with the housing market. Columbus, Kansas realtor Becky McDaniel says a lot of people are looking for homes in the area. She says the situation is becoming more balanced as more homes are now being listed as well. She says houses might stay on the market a little longer or they're not selling above the list price, but a lot of people are still buying because of affordable house prices. McDaniel says a good amount of people come from outside the state.
For the most part, we've got more new people coming in from other states, I must say, than in recent years, probably in the last 2 years.
McDaniel says Kansas is among the 5 cheapest states to buy a house this year. Pittsburgh's gifted middle school students today participated in STEM activities at Greenbush and Girard. 6th and 7th graders were in the lab learning the difference between animal and plant cells. They looked at their own cheek cells under a microscope. 8th graders went outside to learn engineering, design, and problem solving, and they worked together to cross a ropes course.
Greenbush offers these enrichment programs, and so, our science programs at our schools are wonderful, but this is a way for our students to kind of take a step and go and use the kind of educational skills that they've learned, the concepts that they've gotten in the classroom.
Greenbush was established in 1976 to help schools, communities, and agencies accomplish more by working together with locations in Girard, Topeka, and Lawrence. To find out more about the classes and workshops Greenbush provides, you can go to our website, koamnewsnow.com. A Joplin resident is now $100,000 richer after winning the lottery through a scratch-off ticket. The lucky woman says she bought the $5 Ace of Spades ticket on a whim at Big Apple Travel Plaza. That whim ended up winning the grand prize offered by that ticket. Let's check in with Doug Hetty for a first look at the weather.
Well, it's definitely turned out to be another beautiful day across the region. We've had sunny skies, temperatures fantastic, and clear skies across the area. It's been pretty quiet past couple days. Most of the Central Plains look pretty good. We hardly have any clouds across the region. 81 in Stockton, 85 in Neosho, 86 at Grand, 87 in Parsons. So a little warmer than what we did see yesterday, but still overall it looks pretty good. Throughout the evening hours, we slide back through the 80s, 73 by 8, 67 by 10, overnight low down to about 54 degrees, and looks pretty good for the rest of the week. Now the tropics are heating up. We're going to look at our next chance for rain, all coming up here in just a little bit.
See you then. Local utility electric line crews from Missouri and Arkansas are heading to Florida to help in the aftermath of Hurricane Ian. Line worker crews from 13 utilities are traveling to Orlando, where they're going to be dispatched to Florida municipal utilities that need electric restoration after the storm passes. The group was organized by the Missouri Public Utility Alliance.
One unique factor that helps municipal systems throughout the country is there's a real brotherhood among the electric line workers. And I think inherently in the job that they do, which is a job of service, when you find other systems in jeopardy or with some damage, I think it's just inherent in their DNA to go and assist someone else.
The city of Carthage has sent 6 electric linemen. President Biden today touted his administration's plans to bring down health care costs for seniors, including lower premiums for millions of Medicare recipients starting next year. Reporter Skyler Henry has more from the White House.
The Biden administration says for the first time in more than a decade, Medicare Part B premiums are expected to decrease rather than go up next year.
Millions of seniors and people with disabilities on Medicare, that means more money in their pockets while still getting the care they need.
According to the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, the standard monthly premium for Medicare Part B in 2023 will decrease by more than $5, while next year's annual deductible will be $7 lower. President Biden spent much of his remarks highlighting the recently signed into law Inflation Reduction Act, which caps out-of-pocket costs for seniors on insulin and prescription drugs. Medicare beneficiary and diabetic Bob Parent says the Inflation Reduction Act gives him peace of mind.
For me, the Inflation Reduction Act will allow me to do things I cherish, be able to travel to see my grandkids.
This bill actually ought to be called the War on Seniors Act.
Last month on CBS News Face the Nation, Republican Senator Rick Scott slammed the law, which passed despite uniform opposition from congressional Republicans.
Far-left policies have led to record spending.
158 House Republicans have already signed a Republican budget that will cut Medicare and Social Security.
The president's focus on seniors' health care Tuesday comes less than 2 months from the midterm elections. A new CBS News poll shows more than 90% of Medicare-eligible seniors said they will definitely vote in November. Skyler Henry, CBS News, the White House.
President Biden also vowed to continue fighting to lower insulin costs for all Americans, not just Medicare beneficiaries. Demonstrations are growing worldwide and here in the U.S. for a woman killed in police custody in Iran. The 22-year-old woman was arrested for allegedly wearing her headscarf too loosely. So far, dozens of people have been killed in Iran during protests. The Biden administration is imposing sanctions on Iran's morality police and is taking steps to support internet freedom as the Iranian government imposes online shutdowns. Coming up in Health Watch, a growing problem here in the U.S.
The nation's obesity epidemic is growing. I'm Trinity Chavez with what experts say is an alarming trend.
And later, as the temperatures start to drop, the price of heating a home is only going up. Topping today's Health Watch, new research published in Biology Methods and Protocols finds certain underlying conditions are much more likely to result in death from COVID-19. They include degenerative neurological diseases, dementia, and severe disabilities. Conditions left out of conventional risk assessments because doctors don't associate them with respiratory injury or weakened immunity. A new report shows the nation's obesity epidemic is growing. Reporter Trinity Chavez has more on what experts say is an alarming trend.
Obesity rates are climbing nationwide and within certain population groups. The latest State of Obesity report from Trust for America's Health shows 19 states now have adult obesity rates over 35%. That's up from 16 states the previous year.
Just a decade ago, no state in the country had an adult obesity rate above 35%. And these trends are also concerning among our youth. Nearly 20% have obesity.
Dr. J. Nadine Gracia says the increases are alarming. Obesity raises the risk of diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and some cancers.
Obesity can be prevented, it can be treated and managed, but yet we as a country haven't really put the investment in to truly address the crisis at the magnitude that it is.
Another concerning trend, certain areas of color have higher rates of obesity, as well as some areas where incomes are low.
It's really important to understand that these are driven by long-standing inequities that we see in social and economic conditions in these communities. For example, factors such as poverty, such as food insecurity, housing instability, having less access to quality health care, and root causes of structural racism and discrimination.
Dr. Gracia says addressing this crisis will require new policies and programs at all levels to promote healthy eating and physical activity. Trinity Chavez, CBS News, New York.
Obesity can also increase the risk of other conditions such as arthritis and sleep apnea. Anxiety during pregnancy may lead to earlier childbirth. Researchers at UCLA found pregnancy-related anxiety in the third trimester was most strongly associated with early births, but general anxiety in the first trimester also upped the risk. Study authors suggest doctors screen patients at those times. And mental health issues can speed up the aging process. That's according to American and Chinese scientists who found psychological factors like loneliness or being unhappy added more than 1.5 years to biological age and accelerated aging more than smoking. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, the Congressional Budget Office announces how much it expects the student loan forgiveness plan to cost.
Plus, we need some rain. We're going to look at our next rain chances coming up next. Well, it definitely turned out to be another great day for us today. Sunny skies, a little warmer as we did go into the mid-80s during the afternoon, but clear skies once again. Nice shot, Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, of course, Indigo, Seneca, Missouri. All right, we need some rain. We've been hurting for the past several months. Of course, none today for the month. We're not even at a half an inch of rain, which is kind of crazy. The month is almost over, so we're behind the yearly average by over an inch of rain. Look at our temps: 81 in Stockton, 84 in Lamar, 86 at Grand, Pittsburgh 85. A little bit warmer, Neodesha at 87 degrees, and we can look outside. 7th and Rangeline looks pretty good, 86. Southerly winds 5 to 10. Humidity is bone dry at 20%. Through the evening hours, clear skies. We drop back through the 80s, 70, 67 by 10. Overnight low, almost chilly, down to about 54 later on tonight. Clear skies, nothing's going on here. We have clear skies across the entire Central Plains. No storm systems out west, meaning we're going to stay pretty quiet as we go through the next few days. But of course, a big national story. We got Hurricane Ian that is now spinning in the Gulf of Mexico. You can see it's north of Cuba, already past Cuba. In fact, we got a little bit of video from earlier today, and you can see as this hurricane was strengthening, about a Category 2 at this point in time. A lot of rain, a lot of wind, and this is just a little piece of what Florida is going to start to pick up as we go through the next couple days. So let's go back to the map, and I'll show you where Ian is right now. You can see Key West, so only about 100 miles to the west of Key West, and this hurricane is strengthening. It's a Category 3, sustained winds around the eye wall at 120 miles per hour. By tomorrow morning, it gets closer to the coast of Florida, so near Fort Myers, and then inches its way up between Fort Myers and Tampa. Most likely as a Cat 3 or 4 hurricane, which is going to cause a lot of rain, a lot of issues down across southeastern parts of the U.S. Back here at home, it's pretty quiet. It's going to stay pretty quiet as we go through the overnight hours. Temperatures by midnight, lower 60s. You can see by morning, it's comfortable. 53 in Nevada, 53 in Grove, Parsons at about 55 degrees, Pineville at 57. As we go through the daytime hours, mostly sunny skies, lower 70s by noon, and I think most of us will top out upper 70s, mid to upper 70s. 75 in Nevada, 73 in Iola, 81 in Coffeyville, Pineville at about 80 degrees. So 55 to start, 77 by 5, high temp of 79 degrees. And then as we get into tomorrow night, check this out. We drop back into the upper 40s for overnight lows, so it cools down a bit as we go through the next couple days. 79 tomorrow, 48 tomorrow night, 78 on Thursday. We do creep back into the low to mid 80s as we go through the weekend, but you can see no rain chances at the earliest 1 week from today, which we need to start getting some rain in here.
We've needed it for a while. Boy, those farm ponds are drying up, the fields, the lawns, the gardens, everything.
Yep, that's true.
Thanks, Doug. Evacuation orders are in place for 2.5 million people as Hurricane Ian barrels toward Florida's Gulf Coast. The storm strengthened overnight into a Category 3 hurricane with sustained winds of 125 miles per hour, slammed into Cuba today. Ian is currently on track to make landfall somewhere between Fort Myers and Tampa, but the storm is so large, most of the state is expected to be impacted by high winds, heavy rain, and storm surge. Coming up, the rising cost to heat a home. First, though, we honor a local veteran. Charlie Bruton served in the U.S. Army from 1942 to 1945. The Neosho, Missouri native was stationed in Belgium, and we salute Staff Sergeant Charlie Bruton, a four-state hero. Topping today's Consumer Watch, the Congressional Budget Office says the White House's student loan relief plan is likely to cost about $400 billion. The plan would cancel up to $20,000 of debt for borrowers below a certain income level. Republicans argue the plan unfairly passes the cost of college onto those who never went. The Biden administration says it provides relief to the middle class and insists the cost will be offset by other measures, including the Inflation Reduction Act. The Biden administration wants airlines to be more transparent about extra fees for passengers. It's proposing rules that would require them to disclose charges for checked and carry-on luggage, as well as fees for rescheduling or canceling flights. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg says the goal is to let travelers save money by making informed decisions. Inflation has affected the price of pretty much everything, and experts say the cost of heating a home is going to rise dramatically this winter. Beth Germano reports.
68-year-old Anne-Marie Taylor Aline lives on a fixed income and is already struggling with rising food and rent prices. Now she's learning her energy bill is going up 64% in November. The utility company says with fuel costs rising, it's forced to charge customers more.
A lot of things I have to sit back and think about, what I'm going to do in order to survive.
So for many Americans, the cost of home heating will become unaffordable this winter.
Mark Wolf is the executive director of the National Energy Assistance Directors Association, and in a new report predicts propane customers will pay 58% more than 2 years ago. Natural gas up 66%, and fuel oil could jump almost 75%.
What we're concerned about is that those prices could go higher if, in fact, it's a colder winter.
Wolf is asking Congress to approve billions of dollars in heating assistance for low-income families. Taylor Aline receives help with utility bills from a local nonprofit. Sharon Scott Chandler is the CEO.
We've seen a rise in support requests for food, for rental assistance, and obviously utility costs.
If you didn't have that assistance, how much more difficult would it be for you?
Very difficult.
But Taylor Aline says the assistance only goes so far, forcing her to find other savings.
So right now, I think I have to cut off my cable.
She also plans to use the lights sparingly and keep the thermostat low to help make ends meet. Beth Germano, CBS News, Boston.
Inflation has impacted pretty much everything, including groceries. Butter has been hit hard, especially hard. The Wall Street Journal reports butter prices were up 24.6% year over year in August. That's almost twice as much as the overall increase in U.S. grocery prices over the same period. Butter supply shortages are reportedly to blame. According to Food and Wine magazine, America's stores of butter are at their lowest levels since 2017. Amazon is getting a big jump on the holiday shopping season. The company is rolling out what it calls its Prime Early Access sale, which will be similar to its annual Prime Day sale. Amazon says it'll offer deals on hundreds of thousands of items to Prime members. The sale is set for October 11th and 12th for shoppers in 15 countries all around the world. A final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, how Florida officials are preparing as the state braces for Hurricane Ian. Then on KOAM News at 6, a Pittsburgh man is sentenced for child sex crimes. Plus, we're going to have more on trends in the housing market of a local community, and two of the best local softball teams, Joplin and Neosho, hit the field against each other today. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. NASA scientists destroyed a multi-million-dollar space probe last night, and the agency is celebrating. It was an experiment to see if a potential threat to Earth could be stopped. They did it by smashing a small spacecraft intentionally into an asteroid to throw it off course. The craft made impact last night, but it could take weeks to find out if the test is a success. You just have to nudge it a little bit if it's far enough away to change the trajectory dramatically.
Yeah, I just want to know, why is this experiment happening?
You think they know something we don't know that may be necessary down the road?
You never know.
You never know. What do you know about the weather?
Looks pretty good around here. We're going to drop back lower 50s tonight. Tomorrow, a little bit cooler, 79, plenty of sunshine, 48 tomorrow night, so overnight lows getting a little chilly.
Thanks for joining us. CBS Evening News is next. We'll see you right back here at 6. Let's make it a great evening.